All right, let's jump right in. You think you know what day it is, right? You look at your phone, maybe you've got a calendar hanging on the wall, and you trust it. But what if I told you that whole system is, well, it's off? What if the real start to the year, the actual energetic jump off, hasn't even happened yet?
I mean, really think about it. What if that calendar you live by is just a suggestion? A leftover from some old, outdated programming. Because we're about to dive into a totally different kind of time, a much deeper rhythm that's actually coded right into our DNA. And according to that code, the real party, well, it's only just beginning.
You know the vibe. December 31st rolls around and it's just pure pressure. All this stress to suddenly become a new person. And what happens? By like the second week of January, it's all gone. It just fizzles out. And that's because you're trying to force it. The energy just isn't there yet. See, the real work isn't about one night of champagne and confetti. It's about the weeks of quiet contemplation leading up to the true start of the cycle.
So where the heck did all this information even come from? Well, to get the message, you first got to understand the messenger. And let me tell you, this story, it's not some gentle, feel-good fairy tale. Oh no. This is a story about a man, a strange voice, and an experience that he himself could only call, well, madness.
And yeah, those are his words, not mine. The man who brought all this to the world. Ra Uruhu, he didn't try to pretty it up. He didn't sugarcoat a thing. This was no gentle awakening on a yoga mat. He actually insisted that you see it as a story of madness, because what he received was just that radical, that absolutely world-shattering. So, let's set the scene. It's early January 1987. We're on the island of Ibiza. And this guy, Ra, who's already living let's say, an unconventional life, he walks up to this remote, crumbling ruin that he calls home, and he sees something that's just impossible. There's a light coming from under the door, a door that he holds the one and only key to. So he pushes the door open, and things just get weirder. The kerosene lantern inside, when he knew for a fact was totally empty, is lit. And it's spinning. Then his dog, Barley, just runs past him through the door and boom, collapses. Just like that. Ross said it was like he'd been shot. And that's when he heard it. A voice. And this wasn't some angelic whisper, okay? He described it as sounding like a cigar-smoking 150-year-old woman. It was not pleasant, not friendly at all, and it didn't really ask a question. It was a command. Are you ready to work? For the next 8 days and 8 nights, that voice just downloaded information into him, an entire cosmology, the mechanics of the universe, the very nature of being, a complete blueprint for understanding what it is to be human. So you see, the madness wasn't chaos, it was a transmission. And the results of that transmission? A system he called human design. Okay, so that's the wild origin story. But what's really mind-bending is the knowledge that actually came out of it all. And one of the core pieces just completely blows up our whole concept of time, starting with, you guessed it, the new year. So this is where things get really, really cool. In human design, the year is mapped out into 64 different energetic themes, or gates. And around January 21st, the sun moves into what's called Gate 41. Now check this out. In our own genetics, there's something called a start codon. It's literally the only piece of DNA that has one job, to tell a process to begin. Gate 41 is the mystical equivalent of that start codon. It's the universe's official go signal. So the real new year, it's not some arbitrary date, it's a genetic planetary kickoff. And this is exactly why those New Year's resolutions you make on January 1st almost always crash and burn. We're trying to floor the gas pedal before the engine is even turned on. According to this whole system, the weeks leading up to that real start date, January 21st, they aren't for doing things. They're for being. It's a time for contemplation, for looking back at the last cycle so you can walk into the new one totally fresh. And there's actually a map for this whole process. The system lays out this perfect sequence of themes to think about as the sun moves through these different gates. It's like a journey, you know? It kicks off with self-love. Then it has you look at what really brought you joy, what you found was worth fighting for. From there, it's about owning your ambition, tapping into your inner truth. And finally, and this is a big one, accepting your limitations. It's this beautiful, structured way of letting go of the old year before the new one can even begin. Okay, so a new personal year. That's a big deal, for sure.
But listen, this isn't just about another trip around the sun for you and me. What's happening right now, as we get closer and closer to 2027, it's so much bigger. We're not just turning the page on a new year. We're closing the book on an entire 400-year chapter of human history.
Just look at that, 411 years. Let that sink in for a second. That's the scale we are dealing with here. Think about it. Almost everything you take for granted, our governments, our money, how society is structured, all of it was built during this one single energetic program. And that program, it's shutting down.
This whole era, it started way back in 1615. It's called the Cross of Planning, and that's exactly what it was. It was the background energy, the frequency that gave birth to all our big institutions, our governments, our corporations, our whole idea of social contracts. It's all based on the tribe, on this fundamental bargain of, hey, I'll do this for you if you do this for me, all so the community as a whole could survive and build.
So the most important thing to get is that this old program, the Cross of Planning, it's ending, it's shutting down, and taking its place is a brand new 400-year cycle. This one is called the Cross of the Sleeping Phoenix. And I mean, come on, that name alone should give you chills. It tells you everything you need to know. Something ancient and something very, very powerful is about to wake up. And this right here, this is the absolute core of the whole shift. The entire focus of humanity is moving away from the collective and onto the individual. We are leaving behind an era built on tribal deals and community safety nets, and we are stepping into an age where your own individual spirit, your sovereignty, your unique expression, that's the whole show. That's the main event now. So, what does this new world actually look like? What's it going to feel like to live in it? Because as we step into this era of the Sleeping Phoenix, the fundamental rules of the game, how we relate to each other, how we relate to the world, are being completely rewritten from the ground up. Okay, so let's get specific. The core energy of the last 400 years was driven by what the system calls Gate 37. You can just think of it as the energy of the family. You know, community, social deals, everybody doing their part for the tribe. That whole frequency is now being replaced by Gate 55, which is the energy of the spirit. And what that means is our entire focus is shifting away from just serving the needs of the group and toward honoring our own individual connection to our purpose, to the universe itself. So how does this actually play out in the real world, right? Well, it looks like the rise of the true individual, people leading from their authentic self, not just towing a party line. It means having your own emotional awareness becomes non-negotiable, because those old support systems, they just aren't there to catch you anymore. And it's a huge shift in what we value, moving away from looking for material security from the outside world and toward finding a kind of spiritual abundance that can only come from within. And this is why this information is so unbelievably critical, especially right now. Ra himself said it best. This is not beginning knowledge. This is end knowledge. This isn't the stuff you get at the start of a cycle to build something up. No, this is the knowledge you get at the end of a cycle. It's a survival guide, a lifeline to help you navigate the breakdown. It's basically the final exam for a world that's in the middle of a massive transformation. So look, here's the bottom line. The old world, the one built on the cross of planning, the world of big institutions and you-scratch-my-back deals, it's breaking down. You can see it everywhere. Just turn on the news. The political chaos, the shaky economy, the fact that nobody trusts the old authorities anymore. That world can't be fixed. It's not coming back. So the only real question that matters is this. As those old structures crumble to dust, are you, as a sovereign individual, ready to build whatever comes next?